servers where they configure all the servers as the clusters, and all the clusters together placed into a specific region in a data center. So they have all the data available in the data centers. Either it can be a massive parallel processing databases to store the large volume of the data, or it can be the servers or the middleware machines to store the data. Or yeah, it's obviously the disks, right? Your laptop or my computer or your office laptop. So you have the application which you are using is generating a lot of files like XML data or a JSON data. So that's the data, right? Either the data can be in a server, or the data can be the databases, or the data can be in a file system. So you have the data. So now what we see, if you see this calculation of the structured data, what is the structured data? Every client is having the data in the RDBMS, right? You can see the MySQL or SQL Server or Teradata or Netezza. So these are all the structured databases where they store the data into the tables. So you have a primary key, so you have a foreign key, you have the structured data, so you have the references maintained everywhere, right? It's perfect data. It's so much clean data, so processing is done immediately, right? Coming to the data in a servers, it's unstructured data, it's inconsistent data, it is incomplete data. So now you have the data. So because you are going to collect everything from the client, so whatever my usage, whatever my activities, whatever my transaction, so you are going to record everything. So obviously it becomes unstructured data, and I'm collecting, the business collecting all this kind of the data into a single place, right? So it's going to be unstructured data, right? And we have a semi-structured data. The structure is defined, but it's not a mandatory to follow the structure. You see the XML data, you can say the JSON data. The structure is defined, but it's nowhere mandatory to follow the structure. So the data can be like in the form of files. It can be structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data. It's any kind of the data. So we are going to process, right? That is coming to the type of the data. You can see apart from that, the video or the audio data, see so many websites, so much blogs, different people are writing the different articles on their blogs. You can see the weather patterns, the location coordinates, where, so different maps which are running right now. So web blogs, right? Sensor data, the email data, at the data generated by the social machines. It's the data based upon the geospatial and geographical data, right? It's all the unstructured data. So generally every client is having the data mostly in the form of unstructured data, right? So the structured data is in the RDBMS, and see this is an example for the unstructured data. Then if you see this, let me show you a simple diagram about the data. So if you see the calculation the USA, right, you can see how much of the data they are using. So in every minute, you can see that there is a 7 lakhs of plus Facebook updates in every minute is happening, right? Coming to see this, yeah, 2 million plus Google search queries. There are 4 lakhs of Skype calling in each and every minute, right? You see the volume of the data in a per minute and every day, right? See that is there are 600 videos are uploading on YouTube every minute. Okay. Right. So this is coming to the data, right? So you have different types of the data these people will generate. Now see here, so what we are going to do with this data, think about now a client or a business, right? How they utilize the data. Now see any client or anything, so you are going to process the data, you are working with the data. So the finally is to a goal of a business is to give the better service to their customers, right? And a business or a client, what he thinks that, so the cost should be less and should be run 24/7 up and run, so that they can get some benefit with this analytical part. So by querying the data, so they just want to see that how the things are going on in the business, and what are the best ways they can change their business, what the best ways they can give the more service to their customers. They can able to identify the business pattern. So how right, how the business is going on, right, what about other people are thinking. So a client or a business can able to take a better business decisions. Let me tell you one example here. uh, I'll tell you one example. See here, right now at this moment, I just want Amazon. You see that? So what is the total cart value they want to see? See, they want to get a benefit to identify the traffic. So the traffic in the sense in which time they have the huge business and which time they have the less business. I just want to identify. So I just means here my team. So we are working on the time. So what is the best time so that I can give the offers to my customers, the people who visit Amazon. So this is what they are thinking. So how they will do that? So they will see that. So what is the total cart value in the some 10 days? So at the morning hours. So they'll divide the day into 4 sections or the 6 sections. So they'll identify the traffic and they'll identify the traffic in the last 30 days, and finally they'll come up with some predictive analytics so what is the best time to introduce the some offers based upon the time. So right, so 3:30 or 4:30 or the 6:30 in the morning or evening. So which is the best time, right? This is the total cart value at this moment. So the total from, if you take Amazon.in, so what is the total cart value? Means that the total number of users who added their products to the cart. So that is the total cart value. So they'll identify the total cart value every hour based, so that they'll identify. So where the sales is going on, only not the traffic. Apart from that, what is the best time? So in which time the more buying and is going on, right? Right. So that's, they want to see that, right? So apart from that, we'll give you one example here. Like suppose right now, so you have an issue, right? So it's, I'm talking about here e-commerce based domain, right? So the thing is, what the customer support, you can send an email or you can call to them to get your query resolved, or you can tweet into the Facebook, you can write your query, or you can post into their Facebook. So yeah, you have the different ways of raising your issue, right? But see, what happens when you talk to the customer? So they'll talk to you, but he's not the one who will take the decision, right? He's the one who will listen to you and he'll try to help you. And at the end of sometimes, so some background team, the backend team will process your query, and then they will take whether you're eligible or not, or that is going to be solved or not. Suppose think that I just want to see, like, what is the total refunds at this moment, how many people are looking for the refund, right? So what is the total number of refunds on each product? So today we have highlighted, like they have highlighted some 5 products. So just want to see that now, right? What are the total refunds are there? That is the thing. So they'll have to get the data from the different sources and into one single place, and then after that they have to process the data. It's like a telecom, or you can see the banking clients. So when it is coming to the banking and financial section, that it was widely started the implementing Hadoop in the big data since 2014. Before that, it was very much less. See, because they always the concern the security in a Hadoop. So right now the big data is providing good security to their data as well as the privacy to the data. So every banking as well as the financial client, so to identify the fraud analytics, right, to identify the people who is doing fraud transactions, it's the best things, right? You can see the CCTV camera surveillance. So now my application will monitor all the CCTVs, right? So the application will identify the people who is something, right, in a way, right, suspective, right? So it's all that done through the application, right? So this is so much comparing to the different domains, right? Either it can be financial or the telecom or insurance or the e-com or healthcare, retail, right? So Hadoop is spread every domain now. Okay, so this is now, so here now I'll tell you what right. So you have the data, fine. So different types of the data and the different domains of the clients. Now what we do here is, once you have the large volume of the data, now, right, so we have the large volume of the data. So the data is coming from the different data sources, right? So now as into the big data, the main responsibility comes here to work with the data. Now working with the data in the sense, either you always going to work with the data, right? So any kind of the data here, either structured or unstructured or the semi-structured data. Now we are taking the data into a file system here. Once the data is available into the file system, then see, you can see like it can be configured with the infrastructure based as well as the cloud based. What is the cloud based here? What are the infrastructure based here? Infrastructure based means, see here, these are you can see this diagram, data sources. These are all the external locations of the data. External locations means generally where the client is having the data, right, coming to their business data model. So some people will have the data CRM, or it can be web transactions, or it can be point of sales transactions, their staffing data, or product catalogs, or it can be inventory or the stores, right? So the data can be from the in a variety of formats, like the clickstream data, social data, so logs generated by the applications, the location data. So this is the different data sources. So now what actually we are doing here, so what we have a plan to work with the data. Let me show you quickly, so something how it works. So now see here, this is the data from the different external locations. So this is the data from a server, sorry, database, from the databases, or this is the data from the servers. So what the servers here, it's a network attached servers or some middleware machines, or it's the data in a disk, like it's a storage, right? Secondary storage, writing the data into the disks. So now these are all the external resources of the data. And this is the big data framework which a client or a business is using, where we are storing and as processing the data here. And now, actually, how this architecture comes into the big data Hadoop, right? The very first thing, right? Every client, every project will do just collecting the data from this various external resource to the Hadoop cluster. So my responsibility, being a developer here, either you are a Hadoop developer, right? So you are in a Hadoop developer, so your responsibility comes to here ingesting the data from the various external resources to the Hadoop. So these are what, this is the external resources, like outside of the Hadoop, right? So these are the external resources where have the data, and this is the Hadoop cluster at the big data framework where we are having the data, where we are getting the data. So now if a client is having the data into the production databases, like you can see, this is can be Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL or Netezza, any kind of RDBMS, right? So now when the data is having into these databases, now what we are doing, we are having some component with the name cube. What is this cube here? If you take this cube, it's SQL plus Hadoop, that is SQL plus Hadoop together, we call it as a cube. So what this cube contains here, it's a one tool, right? It's a small programming which contains some commands, right, where we are getting the data from a production database to the Hadoop cluster, or from the big data resource, which like how you are going to process the data, right? So this is either it can be Hadoop and the big data, Okay, so now this is the what we are having the data in the production database. So we have a component called Scoop, and with the Scoop we are getting the data from the production databases to the Hadoop cluster. So this, remember, this Scoop works always with Oracle machines. Or suppose we have seen like mainframe computers, right? So a client is having the data into the mainframe systems, right? So Scoop also works with the data from the mainframes, right? If a client is having the data in RDBMS, or if a client is having the data into the mainframe servers, right? So then you can collect the data from these places through the Scoop, and you can able to write the data into the Hadoop cluster. So this is one way of collecting the data, ingesting the data, getting the data, or you can say the loading the data from the RDBMS to the Hadoop cluster. The second thing is the server. Now the right now, see, this is like everything which we are doing right now. The data is available in the storage machines, means here the servers, or like scribes, like middleware machines, where you are having the bulk amount of the data is be stored as a files into the servers. Now we do the two kinds of things here. When the data is available in a server, now you can be perform batch processing, right? OLAP and then OLTP. So what is the OLAP in the sense here? Batch processing. Batch processing in the sense end of the day. So the data which is generated in this day, today data. Today data means when you say today data, at the end of the day, today's customers, total number of visited today. So OLAP, right? It's end of the day. Next one is OLTP. What's the OLTP here? It's a real-time streaming the data. Real-time is streaming the data in the sense, now you can see that training thing in the Facebook, or what is the training in YouTube. When do you identify it's a training? It's a right now what's going on in this minute. So as the data comes to the server, we are sending the data, we are writing the data into the Hadoop, we are writing the data into the big data, then immediately it will give into a job, and the job process the data, which will trigger the different alerts. Alerts will send the different alerts will be sent to different team, so they act on those alerts. That is, it's as the data comes to the server, the data will be written to the Hadoop cluster. In the Hadoop, it will be scheduled to run the job on the specific intervals, and the job runs, and the job triggers the events. Events are generated alerts. Alerts will be sent to the different people who involve into the management team or other teams, and immediately they will serve to their customers. That's the data in the servers. So here we have the two things to perform OLAP. We have one component called Flume, right? So what this Flume contains is Flume is a small tool, right, which gets the data from the servers to the Hadoop cluster. So that we use a Flume. So Flume is for the OLAP. Then to perform the OLTP, so we have the different tools are available. Like you can see the Kafka. Kafka is a one tool which performs the real-time streaming the data to the Hadoop cluster. You can see the Spring XD, Star, Spring XD, Storm. So these are the different. You can see the Spark streaming. Right, you can see the Spark streaming. So these are the different streaming tools, right, which performs real-time streaming the data to the Hadoop cluster. So now we can able to process OLAP data as well as OLTP data in the Hadoop. So both the data can be processed with the different types of the streaming tools. So this is one way of writing the data into the Hadoop and the big data. Now, if the data is available in the servers, then yeah, we can configure a FTP client, right? It's a file transfer protocol, so you can configure it's an FTP client, and this through this FTP clients we can upload the data to the Hadoop cluster. Now see here how we are getting the data from the different external resources and writing the data into the Hadoop. So this is what we call the data ingestion. Let me tell you one thing. So you're taking an interview, right? So in the interview, now your interviewer will talk to you. Yeah, hi, says hi, and then they'll ask you, say something about your project, and actually what you're working on your project. Then you started saying that this is the client which I'm working, so this is my responsibilities and what I did for this project. Then what is the next question of the interview, right? How you are getting the data. No interview starts without asking you the question, what are the different ways for your project, for your job, how you are getting the data, from where you are getting the data. So this is a question in every interview. So it's a second question about after your tell me something about your project. The next question is how you are getting the data, because I just want to know that. Everybody wants to know that when you work something for some project, so what are the ways you're getting the data, because I should know, because when we are working with the data, so we have to know from where we are have to collect the data. So these are all the different ways to collect the data and write the data into the Hadoop. So once the data is available into the Hadoop now, so now we have collected the data. Now the data is available into the Hadoop. So now what we do here now, so we have the different people or the different way of the implementing the data into the Hadoop. So, and the different types of job roles here. What are the job roles? Now we can see the Hadoop developers, and you can see the Hadoop analysts, Hadoop Cloud AWS developers, are the data scientists, are the Hadoop admins, right? So Hadoop and Spark people who's working on the data. So now see here, these are the different the job roles which based upon the data into the cluster. Once the data is available, so these are the Hadoop developers. Okay, so developers we have. Then it can be admins who's working on the Hadoop part. Then it's like the Hadoop in the cloud. What is the Hadoop in the cloud here? Because if you go with the infrastructure, going with infrastructure in the sense you have to buy the storage machines. Then it's very big. It can be a small size storage to a single server costs up to $100,000. Right, you can buy a low price inexpensive storage machines to high price storage machine to store the data. Right, it's all the data into the infrastructure. Now you don't want to do with that kind of infrastructure, buying an infrastructure and establishing a team to configure infrastructure. I have an idea to implement something I want to in the next minute. That is, everything should be ready for me. So that is the Hadoop in a cloud. So now you can see the Google Cloud, IBM Bluemix, or Windows Azure, right? So these are the different cloud vendors. So three things: uh, rent the storage. Either it can be in the Google Cloud, or it can be in the IBM Bluemix, or the Carpasphere, right? So we have the different Amazon AWS servers, Amazon S3 servers, Amazon EC2 clusters, Amazon EMR clusters. So whatever, you take the storage, rent the cloud, then dump your all the data into the cloud, start processing immediately. So it doesn't take more than 1 hour if you think that you need a Hadoop. So that is a Hadoop in a cloud. So right now you can see there are so many projects which are running Hadoop in a cloud. So you can see AWS developers or Azure developers on Hadoop, right? It's a Hadoop in a cloud, right? So the Spark is like fast data processing system. Spark, so that is they use a RDD kind of thing, like resilient distributed data. Means they get the data into one cached version, from the data is going to process. So faster execution, 1,000 times faster execution than a Hadoop. So that is the Spark, right? And then it's the data scientist. So what is the data scientist here? Now analytics part in the sense identify predictive analytics. What will be, I don't need, I need to know whether I need an umbrella or not. Maybe it's, I don't think that maybe or may not. You just help, you need to say exactly, do I need an umbrella before going out? Before, maybe you need to take, not maybe, right? You should have come up with a exact and a proper solution, right? That can be the data scientist. So the cause of the flight delay, I want to know, you take the statistics of the data of the last 10 days or the 1 month. Now we are planning a sales in this week with a huge discussions. Now, huge discounts. I just want to see the total sales. So what will the sales for the next week, or what will the sales for the next month, right? So it's all the done by the data scientist. So that's, you can, they use the different kind of regression methods to identify, and they'll tell you the best example flight delay, or the identifying the weather environment, right? It's a responsibility of a data scientist, right? So they mostly work on the predictive analytics part and business decision part. If something is implemented, whether it works or not, if it works, how much it will be get benefited to a customer, how much it will be get benefited to the business, and what other people are thinking about this one, what about other business are doing this. So they have to come up with all the solutions, so that can be done by the data scientist. So if you something try to introduce for your product, or some new things, or the new implementation, first I just want to see how it works. So that's all can be done by the data scientist, right? So now that can be done by the data scientist. Now, right, uh, apart from that, then so there are so many things which works on the search, right? So the data works which is based on the this data search, like you can see the, what we call them, you can say the BI data, BI team, a BI team, something like talent, sync sort kind of the things, right? Have the best, they'll get the data, and they use the BI part, right? So that's a BI. So now these are the different job roles. Now what all these people will do, the only one thing, the centralized data. So we are always here, the different teams or the different people, he's here to work with the data. So now here coming with this Hadoop developers. So what they have to do now as a Hadoop developer, your job role is to, what will be your job role now? Your job role is to get the data from these external resources, from the various external resources, and writing the data into the Hadoop cluster. Once the data is available in Hadoop cluster, then you have to process the data. So you have the different data processing tools are there. Then the data processing can be done by the Hadoop developers. So the data processing is done here, right? That's a responsibility of a Hadoop developer, right? So what they do, they perform the data processing. Processing in the sense querying the data, right? You can say it's in a simple thing, digging the data. Yeah, that's a data processing. That's done by the Hadoop developers. So what a Hadoop admin will do? Hadoop admin, the configuring the cluster, monitoring the Hadoop cluster. You can say the user management, device management, memory management, resource management. So these are done by the Hadoop admin. Configuring the cluster, configuring all these softwares, right, and establishing communication between all these Hadoop components, right, all these programming tools, and analyzing the people, analyzing the jobs, right, identifying the people, right, the transaction, that's why the cluster is running slow, why the cluster is running fast, tweaking the cluster, are finding the health of the cluster. So that are all done by the Hadoop admin. So that is what they work in the working with the Hadoop cluster. So they mainly work on the memory management, device management, resource management, user management. So that's all done by the Hadoop admins, right? So what they do now, they work with the hardware part in the sense the right installations as well as the configurations can be done by the Hadoop admins, right? So then Hadoop in a cloud. So what is a Hadoop in a cloud? So once you collected the data, now what I do now, I collect the data to the cloud now. So my data is available externally to these sources. Now instead of getting the data to the cloud, this big data framework infrastructure. So the client directly pull the data from these external locations to the Hadoop cloud. Like you can see, I'll take a storage into the Amazon, then MySQL writes the data into the cloud, or the Flume commands or the Flume agents will write the data into the cloud, or I'll collect the data from the file system to the cloud. So it's a can be right, you can say that Windows Azure cloud, like from the Microsoft. So I collect the data from the various external resources and write the data into one centralized location. Then I'm going to process the data. So that is same data processing what Hadoop developer will do. So in the Hadoop developer who work on the cluster will work with the cluster, will work with the infrastructure based, are the same Hadoop AWS developers. They also works in the data processing, but they perform data processing where the data available in a cloud. That is the Hadoop developers, like you can see AWS developers. So what AWS developers will do now? AWS developers also work with the Hadoop job role, but they work on the infrastructure which is mounted on the cloud. Hadoop developers generally we work on the infrastructure base, and AWS developers the same thing. I'm talking about Hadoop and big data perspective. So what they do now, they have the data written into the cloud. Then AWS developers can take the data from the cloud and they can process the data. So now you can see that's the AWS developers, right? Then the Spark developers. The Spark developers in the sense the same thing. Now the data is available in the server from the various external resources. Now the Spark will have the different Spark tools. You can see the Scala, a Python kind of thing you can use for the Spark. Then the Spark team will process the data. So coming the whatever the Hadoop developers will do can be done by the Spark developer. The programming which they use is the different thing. So Hadoop developers will comes with the different tools which comes under the Apache, under the umbrella of Apache. Like they use wide variety of Apache Hadoop tools. The same thing we can also use with the Spark, but the Spark performs the 1,000 times faster than a traditional Hadoop job. So we have a specific Spark and Scala developers, or Spark and Python developers, or Spark and Java developers. That is, you can use Spark with Scala, or you can use Spark with the Python, or you can use Spark with the Java. The same thing now. We collect the data into some RDD. So how Spark works? Spark works the data, pull the data first. It pulls the data to RDD. RDD in the sense here, resilient distributed data sets. So Spark always work with the RDD. So that once the data is available in RDDs, and we are going to process the data through RDDs. So that's a Spark developer can do. Now the data scientist. But the data scientist here, right? Predictive analytics. The data is available here. So this business process model, the client decision, right, to identify by the data scientist. So you want to be a data scientist, then you must be good mathematics, right? You should not think, if I ask you the question, what is the integration of x to the power of n, then you should be able to identify it's x to the power of n plus 1 by n plus 1. So if you are good in the mathematical and statistical part, so you are best suitable for the data scientist. So because we mostly use here the numerical regression, right? I use the different types of mathematical calculations to identify the flight delay, right? It takes a lot of calculations in the background to identify that. So it's basically mostly they use here R language. R in the sense it's a one which we use Hadoop and R together. It's a R language. So that's the generally data scientists do. So what they use now, they use R language, then Python. Right, see here, even right, R, Python, they can also use Java, Spark, Scala, they can use anything. Even I have seen, right, they are using a MATLAB. Few data science in the project which I worked previously, it's a healthcare domain. So they have that all the application is available in the MATLAB. Their data scientist wrote everything through the MATLAB. So we worked on a project, so migrating from MATLAB to Spark, right? So that's that can be done by the data scientists. Now this BI team. So what is the BI team here? So it's a Hadoop analysts. So that comes to here a BI. So we call them as Hadoop analysts. See, Hadoop analysts are different from the Hadoop developers. Hadoop developers which targets the data and process the data. Then Hadoop analysts will mostly involves in the visualization part. Visualization part means uh, different with different types of visualizations. You can see here, uh, if you write visualizations, see now you can see the different types of representing the data, right? This is the visualization part, right? So you have the different visualization tools are there. So this team works on the visualization tools, right? So like tab view or quick view, right? Zoom or the Jasper reports. So these are the different reporting tools are there. So what Hadoop analyst will do, so once the data is processed, then they'll take the data and then they visualize the data, right? So there is a data processing. Apart from that, so we have a BI, BI in the sense ETL part, ETL part in the sense, right? ETL, once the data is available here, then process the data, then visualize the data, then first query the data means processing the data, then visualize the data, then run some analytics on the data, right? So BI, like you can say that Talent is one best tool for ETL BI. That you can see that SyncSart. All right, SyncSart is a one commercial product. Talent is a one commercial product. So where we can run the best BI part of the data in the Hadoop, right? So that is a Hadoop list. We'll use that one. Apart from that, so we have a testing, right? So it's right now if you see, I've seen so there are multiple jobs are coming in Hadoop testing. Hadoop testing means the different types of testing tools are there, like introscope is a one tool most they use in the Hadoop testing, right? Introscope kind of thing tools are there which works on the testing the jobs, right? You can say testing the jobs or pre-checks before deploy something in the cluster. So that's a Hadoop testing, right? Now, so these are the different types of the job roles are there into the Hadoop and big data market. So see, now you can see there is a huge growth in the Hadoop job market. I have seen, it's my personal experience. You know that in USA, the November and December, it's like mostly the people are in the vacation, right? So it's something implementing new will be done before September or starts in February. But in last year, I have seen there are even the recruitments were done in the month of December and January. See how much I have seen my students, even 5 students are selected in the month of December in USA, right? Because see, that's the only the Hadoop and the big data. That is how crucial job role. It's a very simple logic here. If being an individual to buy something, we how much analytics I'll do that. I'll ask my PA students, I'll ask my people or my friends, I'll go through the reviews, then I'll identify. Like being an individual, see, you can see that I'm having 1 TB disk in my hard disk, then I'm using the different clouds, right? I'm using the cloud to store my data. I'm using the Microsoft OneDrive. I'm using Google Drive, right? Even the data is not sufficient, so I'm having one external data, external disk storing 1 TB. See, being an individual, I'm working with data which is in some terabytes of the data. My data is obviously it goes 10 terabytes of the data if you took add it together into all the machines. Being an individual, then think about how much data a client or a business will have, right? So that makes the implementation of the Hadoop for a client, and it's the cost base. You see that to implement something for a client for their project, the two major things are cost and high availability. When it is comes to the cost, right? Hadoop is a comparing to other frameworks in the market. The Hadoop comes with a less price, will give you 24/7 up and run, complete high availability, right? So that is the reason it makes the wide implementation, because you try to do something now, yes, it can be done in the next 10 minutes. You don't need a big calculations to start something. So you can start with the 2 machines, 2 node cluster. So as the your business is growing on, as the customers you're getting you more data, we can keep adding more nodes, more data to the more storage machines to the cluster. So you don't need to plan a big cluster at the beginning. You come up with a small machine, one master and 2 slaves, right? Right kind of thing. You can start your project. Then so as your business going on, as you're getting the more data, you can keep adding more nodes to the your cluster. So it goes now. A business starts with the 3 data nodes. In last year they spread up to the 100 data nodes. Means 100 nodes, that is your data spreads into the 100 machines where all the data, 100 terabytes of the data. 3 nodes, you configure 1 TB in each disk. So when you start your business, when you it's going on, so you frequently, right, your the client historical data policy, based on that how much data you're storing, so you have to add those more nodes, so it's keep growing on every day and every day every day. That is the reason. So it comes with a less price and huge benefits. So that is the wide implementation of the Hadoop and Hadoop related things. Are you can see the big data in the market. Yeah, you can raise your any questions, Sujan or Surendra. Volo.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so my question is, like, you're talking about Hadoop testing and Hadoop. Who are the right candidates for these kind of? Who are the right candidates for these roles? Currently,
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah, it's a prerequisites, right?
yeah,
So coming to the prerequisites, uh, actually this Hadoop thing was started by the duck cutting, who is an employee of Yahoo. You know what is the meaning of Hadoop? Hadoop is a tie. The duck cutting actually is going his home, is in his home. His son is playing with the one tie. The tie name is Hadoop. And at the time of writing this programming, the main thing what I think that it should be for everyone. It should not restrict specific developers. My programming should not restrict. So Java developers will work with the Java. .NET developers will work with the .NET. Right? Python developers will work with the Python. But the programming should be such a way that it should be for everyone who is having the programming skills or who may be new to the programming skills. Let me give you one example here. You take this, there is a client, he's having the data into the RDBMS, and this client is getting 500 gigabytes of the data in a day. It's everyday data, 500 GB. So in a month, it reaches up to 15 terabytes of the data, which is very difficult for him to handle that much of the data. 15 terabytes of the data. So now he has to think about what are the alternate things to implement to best processing. Then immediately it comes to one solution for this is a having the data into the Hadoop cluster, right? Okay, so he decided to move the data. One thing is establishing the cluster is one important thing. Second one is the training their employees to work with this new programming, training the team, right? The people who's working with Oracle or the databases. It's if you are working with the data in the databases and your employees are much skilled in the SQL programming. But if you move the data to this Hadoop cluster, so you may have a bit confusion. So do I need to train all your team? The expert level of each and your employee. So that is the one thing everybody will have the question in the mind. See, I'm good since 12 years working on Java. So if you want me to suddenly change my programming, then I don't want to do that, right? So that is the solution here provided. So now you can see this, the solution for this client is, now he's using the MySQL thing that our SQL part, our Oracle, right, our SQL server kind of thing as a database. Now if you move the data to the Hadoop cluster, so you can also use the similar SQL programming in the Hadoop cluster. The same programming also available in the Hadoop cluster, SQL. SQL developers, whatever the coding they use, like a select statement, right, nested select statement, right, creating the table, getting the data to the table, and then writing the different queries and processing the data. So the SQL developers, right? Now see here, whatever comes to the Hadoop, these are the days for the SQL developers. In the sense, whoever good in writing the SQL statements are best suitable for Hadoop job roles, not Java, not other things. So you no need to worry about the big programs here. We'll tell you one thing. Suppose I just want to count the total number of customers who visited my product. If you want to write that in a here it's a SQL, it takes 3 lines. If you take a script program, it takes 5 lines. If you write in the Java, it takes 250 lines of the program. A small program to count the total number of customers who visited the product. So now it depends. So a SQL statement, I can write select a count to star from the table name once that is available. So it takes 2 minutes to count the number of users. If I'm writing a script program, it takes some 10 lines or 5 lines. But if I want to write that in a Java, it takes 500 lines or 600 lines of the code. So we always now the skipping this heavy coding part. And the prerequisites for a Hadoop developers is Hadoop, it's for everyone. In the sense, you are a Java developer, yes, you can also work with the Hadoop. You are a .NET developer, you can also work with the Hadoop. You are a C++ developers, yes, it's also flexible for the Hadoop. You say that, yeah, Ajay, I'm new to the programming. I don't know and I don't have much skills on all these programming languages. Then the Hadoop is providing the 2 new programming tools like Hive. Hive is one programming language we use here, and the Pig, right? So we have to learn. Hive is it's similar like SQL programming. So in Hive, what I'll do, I use a create table name kind of syntax, and select the count star from to retrieve the data from the table. So that is my most data processing can be done based on the SQL programming. So the prerequisite is you should have a bit idea about what's the SQL programming, what are the DDL, DML commands. That's the prerequisite as a Hadoop developer. So you no need to worry about right, the big Java programs or the data need to learn or learn the JavaScript kind of things, right? You are existing skills, you can use that one. You are a new one, then you have to learn these tools, Hive and Pig. So Pig is kind of script program. So this involves the basic script programming skills you have to write, right? So the prerequisite here for the Hadoop developers is should have an idea in the SQL part is the prerequisite. In my 12 years of experience, the best SQL developers are best suitable and will have good in the programming part in the Hadoop developers. It's a prerequisite. The thing is, you should have a basic idea about what is a select, how to create a table, then how to write a select statement to retrieve the data from the table. So the basic MySQL things are the prerequisite for a Hadoop developers. Coming to the Hadoop admin, Hadoop admin, the prerequisite is, yeah, you can start the Hadoop admin career as a scratch, because when it is come to the Hadoop admin, so we have the 3 people: sysadmin, network admin, and Hadoop admin. So sysadmin configure the OS, right? So first thing is have to configure the Hadoop cluster, means how to buy the storage machines, then have to install the operating system. So that's all done by the sysadmin. Then establishing network between these machines can be done by the network admin. Then my role comes as a Hadoop admin to monitor the Hadoop, right, to monitor the cluster. So for this Hadoop admin, you can start from the scratch. Your zero programming skills, you don't want to go with the programming part, all right, and you can start your career if you have a bit good thing like you're interested in the admin part, then you can start admin. So you don't need any prerequisites here to start with Hadoop admin. The basic Linux here you need the basic Linux in the sense. So we have 10 to 15 commands. We have a small documentation. Then I'll share it to my students. So you have to go with that Linux commands, or we train in the Linux first before going to Hadoop admin part. then you can work as an Hadoop admin. So here first we'll train you on the basic SQL part here. So how to, what is the RDBMS, what are the SQL programming we can write, how to create the DDL and DML commands. First we'll teach you in our training, then we'll take you to the Hadoop developer environment. Then AWS developers, so you should know that the basic thing is, yeah, you can we are here to teach you about the AWS environment, AWS programming. So the prerequisite is SQL part is okay, and the Spark. So the Spark generally the programming involves here, it can be Scala or it can be Python, right? So these are widely used, less Java, but mostly we really done the Scala programming. It's very easy to learn because why we are using Scala and Python is they're very easy. So it's a Scala kind of the programming or Python kind of the programming. So you can choose anyone and to work with a Spark, right? Here also we use Scala, Python, or you can also use Hive here, right? So which it's a fast data processing, right? The prerequisite part is you should have a basic programming environment, right? You should be a good you should be a computer background is enough, that's it, right? So we teach here in the Scala, then we teach you the Hive and how to process the data with the Spark. We'll teach you the Scala, then we'll teach you the Spark here, or we teach you the Python and we'll teach you the Spark. We'll teach you the Hive and then we'll teach how Hive and Spark together, right? This is the Scala, right? And for the data scientist, you must be good in the mathematics. The very, it's a prerequisite is for the data scientist, you have to be good mathematics first thing. It's very prerequisite, right? Then you should learn R. R in the sense is a statistical programming language. So that's, you should not have to learn R. Then you have to learn Python. Here also the data scientist generally we use Hive here. Okay, Hive. Then we can also use Scala here, right? That's the data scientist, they use the programming. So the prerequisite for the data scientist, first thing is you must be have a passion and the mathematics. You should have an interest to learn something. First you should be have much interest to work with the mathematics part is a prerequisite. Then this visualization tools, yeah, here you can come start with your career scratch. So we use the Hive here, Hive and other tools, and then we have the different BI tools are there, right? So you can start your career from the scratch without any programming skills. We can also go with the Hadoop analyst. Then Hadoop testing, so you should have something, right? What's the manual testing, what's the automation testing, right? What, how to test the jobs. You should have a basic idea about the testing. That works. Then we have a different tools like Hive jobs we have to test, or we have to test the big jobs. So you have to work on the data, right? Which is data models or the data programming generated by the developers. They are going to work the testing part. So the prerequisite is you should have an idea about what is the testing, or what is a manual, or what is automated testing. So that works. So the basically to work with the Hadoop, the prerequisite is the SQL, right? It's the days for the SQL developers. Let me show you quickly one small diagram here. You can see this diagram. It's everywhere is a SQL. Now we ready, because here the complex big Java programs generally we don't want to write here, right? So the same thing we can achieve by writing SQL programming. So you can see these are the different things like Actian, Apache Drill, or Cloudera Impala, or Stinger, or Vetica, Big SQL, Oracle Big SQL, Hack, or Splice. These are all the SQL kind of the programs. Means, so everywhere we use a create table kind of syntax and select statement. So this is mostly in the Hadoop. We work on the SQL part, the SQL based programming we use here, right? Every client they prefer to go with the SQL programming. So my experience is you should have a little bit knowledge on the SQL programming is the good prerequisite. It's a prerequisite to get into the Hadoop. Okay, Sujan?
Yeah, sure. And
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Surendra? Hey, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, hi Surendra.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. So any questions, Surendra?
No.
Just you want to raise any questions or anything?
And what is for
No.
this for Hadoop Analyst BI? What are the tools?
Yeah, BI tools like it's a SyncSat or the Talent, right? These are the BI tools. So most BI tools are the commercial products which you have to buy from them, right? That's a BI part. So now, wait, what we do now? The Talent, right? Sorry, we have a Talent, right? Talent is a one ETL tool to perform ETL kind of thing. We have a SyncSat. So these are the BI ETL tools to work on the Hadoop medium. Okay, it's a you can say SyncSat, right? So this one, it's a one ETL tool in the Hadoop SyncSat. Then the challenge, right? So these are the tools for the BI in Hadoop. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So generally you can see that there is specific talent developers, right? Generally the request comes as talent developers or the SyncSat developers. You know, you can see that specifically, like if you're looking for the BI, then you have to look for the like talent developers, SyncSat developers kind of things.
So it's like, is it something like, do they come? Do they belong to the same category of Tableau or ClickView, or are Talent and
No,
SyncSort?
no, no, no. You can see here, QuickView is like a visualization tool. If
Yeah.
we don't say they are the BI, you can see like Splunk is there, right? The Splunk it's like visualizing the data and searching in the data. It comes to a different way now. A Tableau, QuickView are the different ways, and the BI role is a different thing, right?
Okay. So,
Yeah, that comes into Hadoop analyst part,
okay. Hadoop analyst part. Now,
right?
data scientist, high skill. Okay. Uh,
Right.
so, so
So
as
BI
part
can
of
be done. Yes.
So as part of the training process, what are you going to like? What are your specialties, and what are you going to focus on things like? How are you going to approach for marketing and everything?
Okay. And so if you observe here, so all these are the different job roles, but where you actually the data laid into the Hadoop cluster, right? So finally we are all here with the different job roles by targeting the data into the Hadoop cluster. So that is the reason whatever you maybe work on the testing part or analytical part or the BI part or anything, right? So right, it's the data into the Hadoop,
Yeah.
correct? So the centralized location is Hadoop. Now everybody has to know working with the Hadoop cluster now. Either you dev or you an admin or you AWS or you Spark. You should have to learn how to work with the Hadoop cluster first thing, right? Then you should focus on the specific job role which you're looking for.
Okay.
Now,
Okay. Got you.
right. Yeah, coming to the my training environment. Yeah, I just tell you the three important things here. My training is mostly focused on the practical oriented sessions. The training is such a way that you are suppose think that you are a developer, so the training involves like your day-to-day activity of a developer, So what we do, what kind of the things you have to do every day. So we are going to teach you those things in the training. So my training is, it's a completely practical oriented and real time programming. So I don't think that taking a PPT and explaining directly from the PPT and giving the programs will work, right? My programming is, I'll take the environment, I will show you by executing each and everything in my machine. I'll do in front of you, and I'll give you the different assignments, or you'll get the same programming with the same data file in your machine. So you can go and you can also do in your machine, or we can do the simultaneous in both the machines, right? So that training is, it's completely practical oriented, and we much focus on the activity of for the, right, it's a day-to-day activities what we do for the project. I'll teach you the same kind of programming in the same environment,
Okay.
right? And you'll get the notes, and you'll get the programs. Specifically, you'll be given access to the cloud, where you can access the data as well as you can access the programs, and you'll get in hands-on. So hands-on in the sense, first thing is you need to practice, right? We'll give you a hands-on document. So what you need to do is just keep this into your mobile, then start take the PDF into your mobile, start working as it is in your machine, and observe what you're doing and what you're getting. So do some R&D. We'll share you the document, you do R&D as it is, then you'll understand what you are doing and what you're getting. So at the end of the day, you'll get an idea what we have to do for that particular work. So
Okay.
we'll, right, we mostly focus on the practical oriented.
Okay. Now, how much time does it take? Like, what is?
Yes, all my trainings are 30 to 40 hours. So either it depends upon the one which chooses. If you say you're into the Hadoop developers, I'll try to take between 30 to, so maximum it doesn't go more than 40 sessions. Okay,
Okay.
so that is a Hadoop developer. 40 hours of the training will give.
Okay. Now, I mean, in my case, I'm kind of getting done with. I mean, I'm going to graduate with my PhD degree in data visualization.
Okay.
So, what do you think is best for me to kind of like, I mean, as you said, like, our target is to kind of find a job that has good amount of pay and that has a lot more in demand. Like, like I mean, you kind of explained all these roles. Which role do you think has a lot more demand?
Yes. Yeah, it's a very good question. It's very simple thing. 80% of the job market right now, it's a Hadoop and Spark. Hadoop and Spark. This one. It's, you can see, you just go through the Google and just write Hadoop developers with a Spark. That's it. If you now see here, if you started from tomorrow work with Hadoop, then you can start marketing your resume in the next 15 days. And if you have learned right, so you may get hired in the 25 days. If you start from tomorrow, then you will be in the job. If you are in the Spark developer, it doesn't take more than a month to get into the Hadoop.
So it doesn't take more than a month. Okay.
Yes, yeah, it's a Spark and Scala. This is Spark with the Hadoop developers. Hadoop and Spark together, 85% of chances, it's a high. You can just Google it in the dice. Everywhere it's a Hadoop and Spark. Hadoop with a Spark. Spark and Spark. It's 90 maximum Spark recruitment is there.
Okay, so the Microsoft Spark report. So I
Yeah,
think
Hadoop and Spark.
so. Okay, what is the line of technologies that like now? We are talking about Scala, we are talking about Spark, and we are talking about Hive. We are talking about Pig. So, in what line? What is the order of technologies that we are going to get trained?
Yes. So here, first thing is I'll teach you about working with this Hadoop cluster.
Okay.
And working with the file system in this Hadoop cluster. Then I'll teach you first what are the different ways to write the data to the Hadoop cluster. Then So we work on this data processing environment. So now Hive, Pig, at the Spark, these are the data processing environments, engines. Hive and Pig uses MapReduce, and Scala and Python uses Spark. So these are the execution engines. So first we'll teach you this data ingestion part, then the data processing part, then the data processing with the Hadoop, then the data processing with the Scala. So you will get an order of like this. First here, always just two things generally what we do. Okay, so it's the data ingestion, getting the data to the Hadoop cluster, right? Then you have to work with Hadoop cluster. Once the data is available, we have to work with the reader and work with Hadoop. Then processing the data. So we'll go on the same hierarchy and the training. So processing the data. So the processing the data with the Hadoop, then the same processing the data with the Spark. It's all the same thing. To count the number of customers, we also do with the Hadoop, and we can also do with the Spark. Now it's your project, your architect will choose which is the best one for your job. The same thing, right? I can write in Hive, the same thing I can write. It's simple. My program is count the number of customers who wish the product. This is job. You can write that in Hive, you can write that in a Pig, you can write that in a Scala, you can write in a Python, you can write in a Hive. It's your wish now. So whatever your architect decides, the solution architect, the best thing, they have the different metrics they use before giving the solution, which is the best one, right? So these are the data processing tools now. So we'll teach you in this way.
So are you going to teach anything about visualization tools or else predictive analytics?
Yes, correct. So the analytics part comes into the data processing. We are processing the data means you are running analytics on the data.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all we call it as a data processing. Then visualization. See, every client will have a specific visualization team is there, because Tableau developers is specific to the Tableau. QQ developers is specific to the Quick. Now, what happens here in the new Hadoop from the newest versions, the visualization is also integrated in the Hadoop. Like now, suppose if you are working with Hadoop from the cloud era, they are giving one component called SOLR. That is where we visualize itself into the Hadoop cluster, right? Now you don't need any external programming here. Okay, visualization part.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're working with Hortonworks, so in their newest environment, so they are providing Zepline is a one tool where I can visualize itself in the cluster. Okay, right. And even we also use an Excel here, right? So we have an Excel ODBC connector is available to the Hadoop. Then I can able to visualize the data into the Excel too.
Okay. Now,
Right? Yes.
You talked about two other tools, SyncSort and Talent. So
Yes.
do you have access to these tools for us to kind of like, are you going to demonstrate these tools to us, or else, I mean, like, how is the license going to work? Like, how are you going to access these tools for practice?
Yes, that you have to, because the Talent and SyncSet, they are the commercial products. Okay.
Yes.
So for you and me, and it's for everyone, it's a commercial product. So first what they'll do, so they'll give the initial version. So we have to work on that one, and we have to customize, and we can, the Talent both are available. So Talent, we don't need to worry. So they'll give the non-commercial version to us for the practicing. So we'll get an environment, we can have an hands-on with the Talent. The SyncSat is like it's a purely commercial. They'll give initially 60 days. So you have to work on that they provided. Then you need to talk to the team to extend some more days. They'll take it because that's a commercial one.
But you'll kind of show us how to kind of I mean, use these two tools, right? Like, with Hadoop.
Yes. See here, generally, whatever I'm doing with this Hive and a Pig, that also comes to the similar way of the talent. So then the talent here is like what we do now. We have mainly work on the different types of connections, right?
Mhm.
So what I'll do now, if you are a talent developer, or in the sync set we have a EDX. What we do now, I have to create the different events, then I have to establish a connections. You can see, let me show you one quick diagram on this how we have a talent. If you see here, talent and SDFS connection. So you can see how we do in a talent.
Okay.
Right. So this is how we do a talent. So this is the, now what I'll do now. So we have to establish a connection. So you have to take, see, this is the one job where we are taking the data from SDFS file system and we are sending the data to the Impala, and that right, and then the job runs on the Impala, and the input is from this input location, and there is a testing runs with a Spark and Impala. So like this is how a talent looks like. So you have a talent environment is available, so you have to take these objects and you have to establish a connection. So the connection manually triggers the program, so we don't write a code. So this, if you drag and drop these connections, background will generate the code.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
Okay, so this is,
That's,
yeah, it's a talent developers are the different a talent Hadoop. So they are giving Hadoop talent since 2015.
okay,
Hadoop integrated into the talent from since 2015.
okay, okay, gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So,
So any other?
like, what are your timings and what is
Yeah.
what is the fees? I mean,
Okay. No, the timing. So these are the things. So that, yeah, you have to. What actually you need to tell what is the best time to call you, because the consultant they'll talk to you, and based upon they'll pick the best timings which are suitable for me and you, and they will schedule the sessions.
okay, 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 the consultant. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually didn't contact anyone. Like, actually I gave my name in a Suleika website, and today I received this email saying like,
Okay.
there's a training. So I joined your thing, and I really like this training program. So
Okay.
I need to talk to him and see what.
Yeah. Okay. Because you registered here, right? So did you provide your valid phone number?
Yes, I did provide my phone number and ID. I think he might have called me. I might have been at some other place, like, I might have been in class or in a meeting. Uh,
Okay.
but I will kind of talk to him back again.
Yeah, we are taking a note, because once you registered, so we'll get your name. So we'll call you to right. So the consultant will come to you. So they'll fix one time slot, everything. They'll talk to you, and they'll pick the best time suitable for you and me, and they'll schedule the sessions.
Okay. Uh, okay. And okay. And are you going to provide any kind of back support for once we join the job for like?
Yes. Uh, right. So here I'll add you the two things. First thing is, we'll give you the job description for your project, because whatever I'm going to teach you, again I'll specify those things to be right in your resume, so it will be very easy for you in your interview. Okay, because you are going to learn whatever you are doing in the training, whatever you are learning. So the same thing we write in your project, current project responsibilities, and it
Mhm.
will be very easy for you to take up time, because you are attending sessions here and you are learning here. The first thing. Second thing is, once you get into the Hadoop, we are here to provide the support, and I'll assure my students, the students who took the training, right? My students will directly work with the cluster. My students never have a confusion in their first day in the office.
Okay.
That I'll give you the 100% assurance you will get a good hands-on. I trained till now 700, so almost more than 500 people are there at the Hadoop. So people says that they are very much happy with my training. It's, you can identify, you can see my videos, you can find me in the Facebook, Google, right? But finally, I'll tell you one thing: you'll get 100% hands-on in the Hadoop environment, and you are the comparing to other. You'll be a step ahead, right? If you in my training, that I'll give you an assurance. No,
Okay.
yeah, you'll
So,
get a good learning here.
so you give all the documentation, and then you also will give kind of like, you know, say you'll give documentation. You also give the hands-on training material ahead before the class, right?
Yes, you'll get everything. So you'll get the programs to practice. So generally, what we'll do now, we'll give you an access to my cloud. So in the right, so you'll get the notes, you'll get the hands-on environment, everything. Suppose we'll give you like this. So you now you have to practice it. Here I'll teach you. So this is one job role, like you are working for one project, right? So where you have to get the data from the RDMS to Hadoop, and then you have to query the data. You have to process the data. This is what how to. So here I'll share this document to you. So first, simply you have to follow the steps as it is, right? Do it in your machine, so you'll get an idea what you're getting and what's your you can do some R&D with these things. Then we'll share the notes and again in the script, and it's a hands-on, like to need you to get the hands-on and the skew part. So this is my notes, so you'll get this kind of notes for everything,
Okay, okay, gotcha,
right?
gotcha.
You'll get the notes. Apart from this, you'll get the notes.
Okay, sure. Okay, all right.
Hey, Ajay, and big data engineer, like a developer?
Hello, can you come
The
again?
question is, the question is big data engineer. Is it like a Hadoop developer is big data engineer?
Yes, correct. Right, the big data engineer, this is all here is the big data working. So you can choose here, right? So this is the data we are writing here. So the big data engineer, like it's mostly specifically bit theoretically, and then that's a Hadoop developer. Okay,
Okay.
we'll tell you one simple thing. We have RDBMS and Oracle, correct? So RDBMS is the theoretical implementation, practical is done in the Oracle. Correct. The same way, big data is a theoretical implementation, and the practical can be done with the Hive and Pig as a, like a Hadoop developer. Okay, so that's in the background. So big data is like this is how to work with the data, how to process the data, writing an algorithms going. That's a big data engineer. So which is a Hadoop developer role, mostly focuses on. Okay, hello.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I see, thanks.
See, you'll get the notes like this. This is the notes, right? So notes and hands, and we'll get both the things.
Okay. Okay. So, do we, I mean, are we going to establish an environment on a system, or are we going to work on cloud directly?
Yeah, it's your requirement. So one thing is we'll configure Hadoop in your machines, in your laptop. We'll give it an environment to configure it. So if you're looking to work on those things in a cloud, so we are going to provide you the cloud access too. Both are there, but we specifically specify to configure in your machine, and we'll give an environment to you. So you have to we give you the steps, and we try to connect through the TeamViewer to configure this in your machine, and we do that.
Okay. All right.
And so you can see the practical programming. You will get like this: the data and the code and the description. So you'll get the data like this, and so the coding part, you'll get the documentation, right?
Okay.
So now you'll get all these things.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Great. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, okay, fine. So any other questions? So right, all you Surendra, any other things? Sujan?
I think I'm good. Thanks. Thanks for all answers.
Yeah. Surendra?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay. And Volo?
thank you very much. Everything was very interesting.
Yeah, okay, right. And apart from that, so if you have any queries, so here is my email. Right, so you can text me here.
hadoopframework@gmail.com.
Yes.
You missed R, no?
Bolo, sorry.
Framework. You missed R at the work.
Oh, okay. Framework,
Yes.
FRAMEWORK.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I think anyway you got registered, right? So if you are given we'll have a email ID. No problem.
Right.
We'll give you a mail.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so fine. So I'm ending my session today. So thank you, Sujan. Thank you, Surendra. Thank you, Olo.
Thanks, Ajay. Thanks for the session. It was
Thank
really
you.
good. I really
Thank
liked
you,
it.
Jay.
Yes, Olo.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks.